Hi, I'm Dr. Kim Logan-Nowlin.
And I'm Arthur Nolan.
And welcome to Making It Work. Welcome back to Making It Work. Our topic today, transition and changes. Arthur, what comes to mind when you think about transition?
Well, one thing is moving from one place to another, and that not literally just moving from one place to another. We're talking about also my mind changing from one thing to another.
Adapting to that change.
Yes.
Well, today we have two wonderful people, and they're very special to us because they're our pastor and First Lady, Pastor Leon and Barbara Bryant of the City Temple, Seventh-day Adventist Church in Detroit, Michigan. Welcome to Making It Work.
Thank you. Good to be here.
Oh, we love you both. And see, one thing I have to say, Sister Barbara and I had a history beforehand. Why you do that?
Because I know you were going there, Kim.
We were Oakwoodites, and Oakwood University is in Huntsville, Alabama. Many years ago, it was called Oakwood College, and that's where Barbara and I met as classmates and living in the same dormitory, and we were there together. And then when I found out that she was coming to Lake Region, that was wonderful. Saw her at our camp meeting. And we were happy about Pastor coming too, Pastor.
Thank you for letting me be a part of that.
Always so good to have, one of your sisters from school and college. But then, what?
I have to ask you this question, Barbara.
Okay.
Was Kim the same as she is now, back then?
Yes.
See, I knew something was wrong.
See, no. I am the same. And, maybe you need to clarify. Barbara, could you clarify that, please? And
Kim was wonderful at college. We had fun.
Okay.
Very professional as a student.
Okay.
She was just a pleasant person.
I appreciate that.
And she'll pay you when the show.
And then from there, I found out they were going to be coming to pastor my church, and I was so excited because having the history of many, many years.
Yes.
And you can't look back, over 30 years and say you're still friends. A lot of people can't say that, Barbara.
Right.
That's really good.
So I'm so thankful to have them here today. Well, let's talk about transition and changes. How long have you been married?
28 years.
28 years.
That's fantastic.
Tell us about, how you met, that first date, and your wedding.
How we met is met Barbara at one alumni weekend. My sister, who you went to school with, also introduced us, and she was from California, I was from Connecticut, so we were on two different coasts, and she looked at me, I looked at her, and then we went our separate ways. And then I came down to school the next year and looked to be able to matriculate and study hard and do the things I needed to do. And we had some similar interests. We enjoyed sports and enjoyed the different activities that we were involved in. And so we just started spending time together and studying together and doing other things together. And so that developed. And there were times when she, the thought was that she was concerned about whether I was up to her speed, but we made things work out and were able to communicate and work things out. First date, I think, was a Burger King. Burger King, vegetarian Whopper, and just enjoyed that, and so then we just grew from there.
Okay. Pastor, did you pay for the meal?
I did.
Okay, no Dutch.
No Dutch. We didn't do Dutch that particular time because I invited her out, and so. But later on, she would, if she had a little bit of money, she would help out with what I needed. If I had a little bit of money, we would help. We were struggling students.
Team players.
Team had to be a team.
That's excellent.
So how soon after you started dating did you get engaged and then married?
2 years.
2 years.
Yeah.
It was 2 years.
2 years.
We both finished up college at the same time.
Graduated together.
Oakwood, 1982.
Okay.
And then I went to the East Coast. Mother was sick, and so went and spent time with her until she passed. And Barbara's mother was in California, and she spent time until she passed. And so we were engaged. Like went out and asked her to be my wife, and so then we set a date. And after her mother died, we moved the date up and decided to go ahead and be married in July the 17th.
Excellent.
1983.
All right.
Okay, that's great.
Just celebrated 28 years.
Yes,
That's
yes.
wonderful. Now you have 2 children. How old are your children?
Oh, goodness.
23 and 24.
24. Both graduates of Oakwood University.
Yes,
Oh,
yes.
I know you're very proud.
Very proud of them.
You know,
yes.
And what field are they in?
Leon is in business marketing,
Yes.
and Lindsay's in social work.
Follow their mother's footsteps.
Following her mother's
Social
social work.
That's the bomb.
Exactly. All right, all right. Now, let's talk, how many churches, you know, Barbara, when you started dating Pastor, you knew he was in theology.
Yes.
You knew, did you have any idea that it would entail all that you've gone through?
Not really, because when we got married, we weren't in the ministry at that time.
Okay.
So we lived in Maryland around his family, and we were involved in the church
Yes.
at Brinklow. But when he did get the call, we moved to Texas, and that was an eye-opener. That was a learning experience.
Why was it an eye-opener for you?
The first church, when we drove up to it, I was looking for a physical church building, and it was not a physical church building. It was a garage that was renovated to a church. So that caught me off guard. But our second church was an actual church building, so I was okay with that. So I just had to get used to being in a garage, which they renovated into a church.
Okay.
So that was an experience for me.
That was an experience. That's understandable.
Yeah,
The good
that
thing
was-
about that, though, is Barbara, having come from and been around ministers and individuals, pastoral families, all of her life, she rolled up her sleeves, loved the individuals there at the church, whether we were in a regular church or whether we were in a converted facility building, and we were able to work together and move the church from that particular facility and move it into something else. And now the church has grown. They've gone ahead and on the property that we were able to procure while we were there, build a facility that is representative of what we believe. So,
Tell us about some of the challenges
Yes, the
that you may have
challenges.
faced, you know, in becoming a pastor's wife,
Yes.
and also transition. You know, I'll start with you first.
Okay. Becoming a pastor's wife, I was given a speech that you cannot have friends in the church. And so I took that as the gospel. And I went in and I shook everyone's hand, and then after church, I immediately went and sat in my car. I didn't mingle with anyone. That was a very lonely time for me. And I said, this can't be the way a minister's wife is supposed to be. You've got to get to know the people.
Right.
And so I had to say, I can't deal with that. I better roll my sleeves up and be friendly.
And
How
get engaging.
long did you go through that before you?
That was at our first church,
Okay.
and they were such warm people, and they were the ones who were there for me when we had our first child. So it helped me to kind of relax and understand what it meant to be friendly to our members and let them minister to us as well as we minister to them.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. What a
And now,
testimony.
what about transition? You know, how did that affect you? You know, as a pastor, a young pastor.
I guess transitioning, Nolan, from not being in the ministry to feeling like you have a call for ministry, and the process of learning how to minister, being involved in ministry. You come in, you think initially you're supposed to know everything. You're supposed to be able to be there for everybody and do everything for everybody. My first pastorate, I was what was considered bivocational. I was part-time and had an opportunity to work at a full-time job in the mental health field as well as pastor at church. And so spending the time running up and down the roads and getting to know individuals and transitioning into that, really had to realize and become comfortable with, no, you don't need to know everything. No, you don't need to be everything to everybody. There are people within the church community that can minister to each other's needs. They've been doing that before you got there. They'll be doing that after you leave. And so that has been probably the girding framework for transitioning into and out of pastoral assignments. But that initially one taught me that I could be a person, I could be involved with individuals, be real with individuals, have my ups and downs, and then be able to still not so much be the perfect person, not have all the answers, but that God will supply the needs of the church community through all the people working together and the laity and ministry being there together.
Pastor, talk to our viewers about this. Tell us what the seminary is and what that experience was like.
Okay, yeah. The Adventist Church is very appropriately wanting its ministers and individuals to be well trained and to be included. And I had excellent training at Oakwood. Individuals that are excellent pastors, excellent preachers, excellent theologians. But the seminary allowed for me, and it's an opportunity for you to go ahead and continue to develop your skills, to develop your tools for ministry. It's a master's level program, allows for you to be involved with other theologians, other individuals from different parts of the country, and so it was for me. It was a 2.5-year program with different courses, studies, honing our skills and tools as far as theology, speaking, counseling, pastoring churches. I got a lot of that at Oakwood, but were able to hone those skills at Andrews University, which is right here in Michigan.
Now there's a particular organization that you have to belong to. I don't know if you have to, but I'm sure most first ladies are involved in this.
What, the Shepherdess?
Yes.
Oh, the Shepherdess.
What is that? I heard, I know it exists, and I've seen women participate in it. So, but tell us what it really does. Well,
it's an opportunity for pastors' wives to come together to share with each other our experiences and to help each other. Yes. Because it can be a lonely life for a pastor's wife.
So it's a support group.
So it's a support group, yes. So it's important that we kind of come together and do things together and just support each other.
Is that national or just like?
Yes.
Oh, that's a national organization.
Yes.
Under the, okay.
It's international because there's a Shepherdess magazine that comes out, and it's from the General Conference, or from the General Conference, where the Shepherdess support one another all over the world.
So those magazines are only sent to pastors' wives?
Yes.
Okay, I see. Pastor, let me ask you a question. How many districts or churches or states have you been transferred to?
Oh, goodness. I think we've counted seven. We pastored in Texas after we moved from Maryland, and then we went to Albuquerque, New Mexico. Loved that place. Enjoyed the people there. Pastored a district there, and then moved to the seminary from there and spent the 2.5 years, and then went back to Arkansas. Pastored the whole northeast corner of Arkansas, and then came to Indianapolis Lake Region Conference. Enjoyed the ministry there, and then now here in where I'm at in Detroit. So,
is that traditional for Seventh-day Adventist pastors to move like that?
Yes. In fact, we've been richly blessed because our movement and transitioning hasn't been as often as some others. There used to be a time when you were at a place for 3 years, and then you would know that you were getting ready to be moved. But we've been able to be in places. In Indianapolis, we were there for just short of 10 years.
Is that right?
And Arkansas, we were able to be there for, I think it was 7-8 years. And then in Arkansas, I'm not in Arkansas, but in Dallas, we were able to be there a little over 6 years.
So how does that affect the churches? The church that you leave and the church that you go to.
The longer that you're able to be there at a church, and we call ourselves as an Adventist church a movement, and that's the reason that ministers were moved so often before, because you didn't want to get, but we're finding now that the longer a minister is able to be there and be effective in ministry, to be able to get to know the congregations, to be able to get to know the people in the congregations, to know the history of the church, and to be able to interact with the families and know how individuals are connected, and then to be able to do effective change, the longer they're able to be there, staying vibrant, staying vital as far as the church community and the community at large is concerned, then the better off for the pastor's wife, children, as well as the church congregation. So, but you know, there are different circumstances that come up where ministers take different calls and move on, or churches feel like they want to go in a different direction, and so you know, you just want to find the right fit in that respect.
That's a blessing. Now you or someone started this prayer line. We have a prayer line at our church. You know, tell us about that, and how did that all come about?
Yeah. Barbara and I started praying at 5:45 in the morning with a group of individuals, just getting on a conference call and praying together. And so we started that and have just continued that. And prayer now is taking on a new avenue, a new part of our life. And so we did that. And then when we came and we were here at a church at City Temple, felt like there needed to be something where we could reach out to a broader community of individuals. And we have several church members that are in nursing homes, several church members that are homebound, several church members that just can't get out. And so we started a prayer line in conjunction with the North American Division, having a 7 o'clock and in the morning and 7 o'clock in the evening, 7 days a week, prayer, call for prayer, for revival and for the indwelling of the Holy Spirit. And so we decided 6:55 we would get on and be on for around 15, 20 minutes. And then we went through a book, Mark Finley's book, 10 Days in the Upper Room. And have been going through that and just finished up that. Now we're looking at doing some things with Steps to Christ. But it's been a rich blessing. People, not just from Kim and Arthur from Detroit, but we have people that are on from Florida. We have people on that are from Kentucky, people that are on, been on from California, Talladega, Alabama, people from Detroit, sick and shut-in individuals, people that are coming out. And the elders of the church have just picked up on it. They're really excited about it. They're enthused about it, and they're coordinating it. So I'm just sitting back now and just coming on. And if they ask me to do something, doing it, or just praying. One of the other things I just need to say is Barbara talked about the shepherdess, but the Lord had blessed some of the ministers within the Lake Region Conference to come together, and we call ourselves a pastoral support network,
that's
where
excellent.
we come together and we're praying 5 days a week for different things. We're involved in prayer, supporting one another, holding each other accountable, encouraging one another to be able to do the things that we need to do within our churches. And if there's things that they need to hold me accountable for, if they need to stop me and say, look, you need to check yourself on this, or then they're able to do that. So it's supportive in that respect.
That's a blessing.
And that's through a prayer line also. We get on the line at 8:30 in the morning and we pray together. We have a devotion and then have different individuals to do different things.
Well, I'm asking that you keep my sister in prayer. I just found out that she has 3 spots on her lung. She has pneumonia.
She was on our line too.
That's what she said. She said you don't know how much that helped her. You know, so I'm asking that you lift her up. And those of you who are viewing, just keep my sister in prayer. Her first name is Renee. And so it was a blessing to her. And I think that's something you and I definitely need to become a part of.
Oh, definitely.
Because we believe in the power of prayer. And we do pray consistently for our loved ones, family, and friends. Barbara, let me ask you a question. By trade, you're a social worker.
Yeah.
Yes. I think it's wonderful.
It's best. I mean, it's one
I'm
of those
on the
fantastic
other side,
jobs.
Clinical side. I'm a licensed professional counselor. I'm on that other side.
But a lot of the things that you picked up in your profession came from me and my guidance, and my willing to show you different techniques that is going to be beneficial.
I praise the Lord for a humble husband and being in biblical order, being obedient, being submissive. Thank you.
I heard that. Now that's today.
But praise the Lord, that's today.
Okay.
But how has that been an asset? And I'm sure it has been.
Yes.
Being able to help your congregations and seeing some of the issues that's in your churches.
Well, it's an asset because you're able to listen to some of the members who feel comfortable in coming to me and knowing that I'm not going to discuss it with anyone
That's
else.
right, that's right.
So confidentiality is important in the field of social work.
Yes.
Understanding that there's a process that we have to go through.
Oh, yes.
But it's important that people take responsibility for their situation.
Definitely.
And they need to come up with their plan of action.
Now that's good. We
It's
talked about
not
that.
what I tell them to do. You know, they have to want to make that change.
Because these are all suggestions.
Yes.
So you do a lot of nurturing,
Right.
and try to help them come up with their own solution.
Yes.
Yeah.
What do you see at our church that would be an asset that we can implement, you know, versus, I know a lot of the churches have a GED program, so we have a soup kitchen, we have the clothing drive, you know, but I think it'd be really beneficial for us to have an open door counseling program for our community, you know, an offer an NA or AA program. What do you think about that?
That would be an excellent idea. Right now I'm working with the seniors, so there's a big need in that area. But an AA program would be wonderful. It's just a matter of getting the right individuals to commit to being a part of this program, whether you have it twice a week or once a week. But you've got to get that commitment first.
And we're blessed that our church viewers have, we are indoctrinated with a lot of educated individuals, and it's been our pastor's, you know, desire to see us all come together to be able to work together to make this happen. You know?
I also believe that there's a certain sense of fear, you know, when we're talking about doing something that is different, especially when you talk about churches that have been traditional in so many different areas. And I would think that, you know, you guys being the head of organizations and churches, you tend to probably run into situations where it becomes difficult to implement any type of change.
Transitioning, as we're talking about today, is that process that Barbara talked about, and it's finding out what the church is able to move forward in, what they're going to be fearful about. If you make a suggestion, who makes the right suggestion, or who brings a suggestion? Because you know, sometimes, I don't know, he's only going to be here for a short period of time, and then it's going to be changed. So, but those type of things. The longer that you're there, you're seeing opportunities for individuals to be involved and for them to be able to take something up, pick it up, and run with it, to move with it. I learned a long time ago, or heard somebody say a long time ago, that you can have departments, but really what you want to have is ministries. And you don't have a ministry unless you have a ministry leader. And so you need somebody to say, okay, that's where my giftedness is. That's where I want to be able to do. That's where I want to be able to go. Even though you all are traveling all over, this is your home church. And so we just encourage you all to, you know, come in.
That was a good one. That's a nice move.
That's why we're playing this team family summit.
Excellent.
And we're trying to do some other things. But like you said, it's good when we're home to be home to hear our pastor. I was so happy to be at home yesterday and my pastor spoke. And because we do miss our pastor and our first lady, and we need to be fed.
And plus, that's basically the only church I ever really belonged to is City Temple. And I'm talking about from the moment that I got involved in church in the City Temple. So I mean, we're always willing to assist in any possible way. You know. So and I think we've conveyed that to you on many occasions.
You have.
I want to know, how have the children, we have about 5 minutes, the children adapted to the change and transition?
Their children?
Their children.
Yeah.
The interesting thing is the Lord has blessed us to have two special, I won't say special, but they are wonderful children, and we're enjoying their maturing and their growing and their developing. But the Lord blessed us to make it a team approach, and then a team ministry, both Barbara and myself, and then the children being involved, whether it's Pathfinders, whether it's church school. We talk with our conference about we want to be someplace where we had church school. When we went to Pine Bluff, Arkansas, they had just closed their church school down.
Okay.
We were able to say, no, this can't happen. We've got children here, so we're opening back up the church school. We opened it back up, and there were people there that wanted the church school. We came here to Detroit, or we were in Indianapolis, and there was a church school there. It was a struggle, and it's a struggle to have church school in these days, but it's worth it. It's an investment.
Yes.
And then here at Detroit and Peterson Warren Academy, just having the individuals that will want to be. I mean, you have lovely Aaron that is there at Peterson Warren, and that's an important part. But you make it when you make the transition, there's new opportunities. You got new friends, you got new people new aunts and uncles, or new individuals that you're going to be around and be involved with. Different types of food, whether you're talking about these people from this particular area or that particular area, and so that's a rich blessing.
It was so funny, many people came up to me and asked, well, how do you know them? And I said, First Lady and I go back over 30 years, school. How did you know Lizzie? I said, I'm Auntie Kim, as I was to the group with children.
Right.
And this is just who we are. We are a family, we're well connected. And true, when I saw you working at the camp meeting, and you were working in the snack bar together, I said, look at that teamwork. Pastor rolled up his sleeve, got in there, and and I'm telling you, it's a blessing. And having you as superintendent of the campground, and then every workshop, when I looked up Pastor Brian, you were in that workshop, giving us support, getting to know us, because you were still at Capital City in Indianapolis.
Right.
And I thank the Lord for that. Well, we'll be right back to just do a overview just for you. Thank you for tuning in to Making It Work. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Making It Work. I'm Dr. Kim Logan-Nowlin.
I'm Arthur Nolan.
Pastor and First Lady, Sister Brian, if you could just tell our viewers how to continue to make it work in our last 2 minutes. How do you make it work?
The thing that the Lord has blessed us with is the teamwork that comes in play. And she has her ministries. I don't overshadow her. She's involved with the church in the areas that she wants to be involved in, whether it's music, whether it's children's ministry, whether it's hospitality. And then she supports me in my ministry. And so just again, we are supporting one another. We're encouraging one another. And she's not my shadow, but she is a person that does some things as far as that's concerned. She doesn't sit on any of the boards. She doesn't like sit on any of the boards. No boards. But she is involved in the ministry in such a powerful and mighty way, and we appreciate the time that we've been able to be in ministry together. The Lord has called us to do this.
That's a blessing. I know she really, she didn't know, but Spring into Praise, an organization with music, I got involved because of Barbara.
I just think that you guys represent style and class in everything that you do.
Keep up with you.
Yeah.
Barbara, can you, 30 seconds, how do you make it work? How do you keep it together?
Prayer.
Yes.
And working together, doing things together. We exercise together every morning. It's wonderful. We drink water together. I mean, we have this little plan that we're trying to work on. And just talking and communicating.
It's a blessing.
It's a blessing. So we make it
hoping
work.
that you'll come back with us again.
Yes.
Thank you.
Keeping us abreast, and definitely we want you to know, even being pastors, no matter what your profession is, social worker, you can make it work. I'm Dr. Kim Logan-Nowlin.
And I'm Arthur Nolan.
Thank you, and we'll see you next time on Making It Work.